What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Pioneer Guy 714. Welcome back to another edition of Northeast Ohio Firewoods. Today we are going to be going over the beautiful, good smelling, and quick to rot wild cherry. As you guys can see, it has a nice beautiful red wood to it. Now, let's see, a couple facts is this is a Northeast Ohio hardwood, obviously, and it's found across America and over in Europe as well. It's pretty hard, obviously. I mean, it's not as hard as ash or hickory or oak, but it's pretty hard. So, alrighty. Another thing about it is my rating on it. I would rate it excellent because this is my dad's favorite wood, and also, like the previous video on Osage orange, this wood can burn very hot and have a nice smell to it. So, I would rate it excellent on the scale. Now, dry time takes about maybe 6 to 18 months to dry. I mean, I usually like to wait about maybe 12 months for this to dry for best results. Because remember, cherry wood has a high sugar content, so it can rot very easily. So, without further ado, let's get this thing split. Thankfully, we don't have to go too far, because there's a splitting block right behind me. So, alrighty. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. As you guys can see, that was pretty easy for the most part. Let's check out the interior. So, alrighty. As you guys can see, it has a nice red interior to it. This was fresh cut because a wild cherry fell over one of my campsites over there, and I now use a chainsaw. I was finally able to buy one, and I was finally able to let my dad convince me. Well, I mean, I was finally able to convince my dad to let me buy one. So, yeah, let me know if you guys want to do a separate review on the chainsaw I have. So, alrighty. So, another note. If you guys can notice the bark, it's very rigid, and when fresh cut, it has a nice aroma. So you don't want to burn it while it's green, like any wood, or almost every wood except pine, which we will be reviewing far in the future. But the thing is, with cherry wood, people like to burn it for its non-smoky aroma, but people don't take into account that it still needs to be dried, because it'll create too much smoke and it'll just be a nuisance to you. So, alrighty. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go look for an actual wild cherry tree. Alrighty, so here we are, not too far from our filming location, but you guys will see one right over here. Right ahead, this is a wild cherry. You can tell by the bark, and its leaves are way far up in the tree, so it's hard to identify. But if you're wondering what their leaves are shaped like, there happens to be one that fell down right here. It's pretty generic, but the veins inside are practically symmetrical, so you guys will know where to find it. So before we go back to the film site, if you guys come with me, this is the tree because it fell down right here. I have to get the rest of that cut up once I get the fuel refilled, but this is all the wild cherry wood that I cut up. And I'm going to try and get all this split and stacked somewhere dry before the winter. As you guys can see, here's another cherry tree that I had to deal with, but just so you know, you don't want them to rot, because they're fruit trees. Fruit trees have a very high sugar content in them, so it'll be very hard to deal with once it's started to rot. But the best thing you can do to prevent this is to get it somewhere high and dry, safe. Alrighty, so overall, it's a great wood. It's very nice. It's not as good as the average hardwood, but it's excellent from my experience. So I hope Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to stay tuned for the next one. I will be starting to film more often now that I'm not as busy. So, alright, this is Pioneer Guy 714, as always, saying good day and good luck. Oh, it won't stop.